Hello, Pavlo with you, and today your daily dose of Ukrainian accent comes with a big chunk of whining about good old times, because today I'm talking about new revision of the model that managed to left a noticeable trace on the market when it was released. And I'm talking about TinHiFi T2 Mark III. TinHiFi released a lot of different versions of T2, and I was really curious to check out the new one. It's a dual dynamic drivers now. They use coaxial driver positioning, meaning one driver is located in front of other, and they manage to adjust these drivers in a really interesting way. Price is about $70. Link to their store will be in the description, and actually let's have a closer look. Outer box looks nice and minimalistic. It definitely grabs attention with its unusual proportions, and as you can see I already removed the inner box because it requires a bit of force and I didn't want to tear this outer box apart. And inside you're getting this smart designed internal box that reminds some kind of book. I really liked this idea for the first TinHiFi T2, and I'm still a huge fan of this design. Inside you're getting earpieces. There are two versions, silver and gunmetal ones. Also you'll get stock cable, pair of foam tips and a few pair of silicone tips. Also manual and warranty card. In terms of presentation, I'd say that it's one of the most fun and unusual design of the box, and I really like this idea. Earpieces looks and feels really solid. They are made of metal, and you can see that creators used different textures of metal, and they have slightly above average weight. They are not too heavy to be uncomfortable, but at the same time you're getting that slightly higher than average weight that gives you sense of reliability. Probably because of thick metal used in shell, and also let's not forget that it houses two dynamic drivers inside. Main shell is barrel shaped, but this extension for the socket definitely gives it a more interesting and more technology-like look. To me it reminds some kind of turbine, maybe some kind of rotary water pump, some engine, something like that. So I like how it looks. Also unusual but interesting looking faceplates are here. They have a great wearing comfort, at least in my ears, because of course all ears are different, but they fitting almost like earplug, and because of that provides even slightly above average sound isolation. Build quality is great. They have lip for holding the tips, protective grill, so all that parts that are required for nice earpieces are here. Cable is replaceable. Here use the MMCX connectors. Maybe I'd prefer 2-pin connectors here, but it's also a matter of taste and preferences. So here they are, fitting well with a nice click. Stock cable really reminds one I've seen many years before in other TinHiFi models, but it's kind of good. There are ear hooks, and the cable itself just bright in color, looks nice. It's really soft, comfortable with almost zero microphonics. Here is a splitter with chin slider, and it goes down to the regular 3.5mm connector with a nice metal shell. In general, I'd say that exterior part is also looks really great. During the lifespan of T2, TinHiFi released a lot of versions. To be honest, I don't remember them all and I haven't heard them all. For example, I haven't tested Mark II, so I can't say what transition to the two drivers technology gave them. But brightest memories I have about original T2 and T2 Pro. And brightest here is probably intended pun, because that two models were tweaked, leaning towards neutrality, detalization, brighter sound, focus on the micro contrast, and at that time it was a market-changing decision because it was the first model that showcased that a lot of people like natural analytical representation that can be sometimes sharp, that is picky for the quality of record, but at the same time it's not it's analytical, it's detailed, technical, and so on. But T2 Mark III actually has not that much in common with that classical T2 model. I'm not sure is it for good or for worse, but it's pretty different model. And first thing that you pay attention on is bass. It's pretty big. It has noticeable amount of additional weight. It has nice, maybe not maximum, but pretty nice depth. It's not bass head model, but amount of bass is pretty noticeable, and that gives a lot of fun to the sound, but at the same time moving it from natural and analytical representation of original T2. Detalization on bass is not maximum, but actually it's not worse. It's somewhere in between. And it's okay because adding more weight, you're losing a bit of focus on the small nuances and details. And at the same time, it sounds detailed enough to give you nice texturing and overall good sense of realism. But at the same time, instrument that goes to the low frequency domain is increased in size and moved slightly forward. And first example, actually, it was super impressive for me because I started listening with this track. It's the Ondekoza, Ondeko Bayashi, and it starts with a few kicks of big drum, and that sounds impressive. Not the most tight and huge bass kick, but one of the biggest and most impressive I've heard in the below $100 price range. And that was surprising, and that was something I did not expect from the TinHiFi T2. And then smaller drums and I'm not sure, some kind of flute starts playing, and thanks to the detalization of the high frequency driver, you getting nice sense of realism. And second example, it's Enter Sandman by Metallica. It's not bassy track, but bass plays here a pretty vital role with kicks of the floor drum. I'm not sure what is the correct name in English. In our language, we call this drum barrel. But correct me about the proper name of this drum. And because of that big bass, it gets, effect of live performance, because it became slightly bigger than in the record with more natural earphones, and slightly deeper. So interesting effect. And taking into account that main focus here is put on the mid bass, deeper layers of bass are still noticeable and audible. It's lacking a bit of aggression for this track, but still guitar sounds nice. Not super aggressive, but pretty engaging. And what I like, that bass is pretty well controlled, but still lower part of mids is also played by this bigger 10mm woofer, and that means it has additional weight. But on the middle and upper mids we have that second driver that is focused more on the detalization, and I was afraid that transition between two drivers will be audible and the coherence won't be perfect. But luckily TinHiFi did a great job in stitching these two drivers together. Probably it's that patented acoustic bracket they're using does its job, and transition is pretty nice and smooth. So you're getting a bit of additional weight and slightly less details on the lower mids, But on the middle and upper mids, you're getting more details, but no focus on the micro contrast like it was in the original versions of T2. And that makes sound more balanced and more realistic. It's not aggressive, but it's detailed enough to give you nice presence for the female vocals, but at the same time they are not boosted forward. Imaginary stage is not huge, but definitely above average both in width and in depth, with nice depth layering and good width positioning. It's not some kind of huge holographic 3D stage, but still positioning of instruments is pretty nice. Instrument sounds realistic, but a bit of additional weight sometimes highlight some instruments that hitting the lower mids. So let's talk about the examples. First one is Miles Davis, 1&1. Lot of different instruments, lot of 3D effects, and it sounds pretty engaging. And also bass that appears also sounds really tasty and surprisingly here. And the second example, it's Intruder by Peter Gabriel, and it's orchestral track with lot of attention put into arrangement. Probably for this track, I'd prefer more of original T2 with focus on the big holographic stage and small nuances, but still it's pretty well represented thanks to the good rendering of emotions for these earphones. They're not trying to be neutral and monitoring, they're more trying to be engaging and emotional. And the treble, probably the most common thing they have with predecessors. It's detailed, it has basic, but it's already good for this price tier layering, and it has nice both basic and more extended overtones. But at the same time, treble here is more refined and less aggressive, less forward. Despite being pretty noticeable, treble here does a good job in balancing bass, and at least to my ears, it doesn't sound sharp or fatiguing, and that gives nice amount of airiness and presence. Really proper attacks and decays also gives you that sense of well-defined treble. And first example, it's Strife by Amber Rubarth. Usually you can expect some neutral and audiophilic earphones with such perfectly recorded tracks, but actually Mark III really fits this track because they put accents and emphasis exactly where you expect them to be. So really nice percussion, really bold and present with good textures, and also all instruments that goes to the high frequency domain are airy and well separated. And second example, Anathema, Ariel, really nice vocals with lot of overtones, accompanying instruments, all goes to the high frequency domain, and this earphones does a great job in separating that all. In terms of pairing, I suggest using some mid segment or higher dongle deck. Actually, TinHiFi has bundles with cables with built-in deck. Probably they will suit this model well, because they require a bit more control than traditional smartphones, tablets can deliver. And speaking about the comparisons, I don't see much sense in comparing them with models in this segment. Like usually I use something like Moondrop Area 2 as a comparison, or some FIO models, but here we getting really different type of representation. So like two driver speakers with big bass and woofers that both trying to deliver best what they can. Weight on one hand and details and extension on the other hand. I'm not sure was it a great idea to name them T2 or not, but probably it's a vision of TinHiFi, and they want to extend their lineup in this direction. And as an output, we're getting a pretty fun and exciting model that I really recommend to give a try if you're looking for some engaging type of sound. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and have a great day.